Over the past few months, there's been a good deal of speculation and expectation as to who will succeed Bishop John Hind as Bishop of Chichester. The diocese has reflected, and the Church of England has prayed and consulted, and finally we can reveal who the new Bishop of Chichester will be. Bishop Martin Warner is a family friend. He knew my late father, who was a priest. He baptised my son George, and he's a very good friend of my mother, who was the first female guardian of the Shrine of Our Lady of Walsingham, where Bishop Martin is currently Master of Guardians. And I'm delighted to say that en route from his current location in the Diocese of York as Bishop of Whitby, Bishop Martin is here joining me at White Cubes Gallery in Bermondsey. Bishop Martin, great to see you. Congratulations.
Thanks very much, Tim. Thank you. It's a mixture of terror and huge excitement.
What made you feel that Chichester was the right job for you?
Well, it was very much a job that found me and not one that I went looking for. But it's a huge privilege to be asked to be a diocesan bishop and to head up the life and profile of the Church of England in Sussex. And I think one of the things that I'd also be excited about is making a contribution on the wider national scene, where I think the Church of England perhaps needs to recover something of a voice that is a little more generous, a little more compassionate perhaps, and more confident about proclaiming God's love for everybody.
But of course there'll be many people who'll be very sad in Whitby because you weren't there for that long, were you?
Yeah, it's going to be a huge wrench leaving there, heartbreaking for me, certainly, and the timing, hasn't been brilliant, but that's not something we can choose or devise.
What do you know about the diversity of the Diocese of Chichester?
It's amazingly diverse, really. In the east, along the coast, areas of considerable deprivation. At the west end, areas of extreme affluence. And then further north, there's Crawley, the new town, and the diocese serves Gatwick Airport. And then there's also, of course, the biggest concentration of people in Hove and Brighton, where there's an amazing profusion of life. The Great Brighton Festival begins in early May. And then in between, there's a great deal of regular mainstream church-going, on which to build.
What would your message be, or what would you say to those who are strongly in favour of the ordination of women in the diocese?
In my last job at St Paul's Cathedral, I worked very closely with 3 colleagues who were women priests. And I think it built a good relationship of trust and of respect and mutual understanding. And I think that has also been true of the women priests in the Archdeaconry of Cleveland, in the Diocese of York, where I've been working. I think it's been very heartening for both them and for me to learn from each other and build those relationships. And I think the Diocese of Chichester has been very brave and bold in nominating a traditionalist at this stage in the Church of England's history, because I think it gives the diocese an opportunity to model how we live with difference, finding a place for everyone within the life of the diocese, without any detriment to the strongly held theological views and conscience of people who could appear to be opposites. And that's not something that the press always wants to report, but I think it's very good news.
I suppose where you're not a traditionalist in the conventional sense of the word is in your engagement with contemporary art. It's been a passion of yours. Is that something you plan to develop?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Chichester's got a huge inheritance, not only in terms of its rich medieval inheritance of art in the cathedral and many of the parish churches, but in the more modern era, as you'll know, Tim, we've got people like Burne-Jones at Rottingdean, we've got people like Eric Gill at Ditchling, and the cathedral itself, with Bishop George Bell and Dean Walter Hussey promoting in the middle of the 20th century great works by John Piper and Graham Sutherland. And I hope that both in the diocese but also across the country it's possible to re-engage with the world of the arts and the church in a dialogue which is fruitful for us both.
What have you learnt about being a bishop in Whitby?
The people of Whitby have really taught me what being a bishop is about, and for the rest of my life I will always be enormously grateful to them for the important lessons I hope I've learned from them. I think the first thing is that it's fundamental for a bishop to look for what is good in people and to build on that. The second thing is that I've been overwhelmed by the tenacity of faith and hope, particularly in the lives of people who are economically at the margins, among the poorest of the people that I've met up in the Archdeaconry of Cleveland. And thirdly, I've had reinforced the utter importance of education and the desperate need, particularly at this stage of our nation's history, for us to support young people who are finding it so difficult to get jobs.
We look forward with bated breath to what you do. Thank you, Bishop Martin.
Bishop Martin has brought a freshness of understanding the gospel. Good liturgy, good worship, commitment to prayer and engaging with people. He's been chairing our Board of Education and has worked hard to make sure that we in the diocese engage clearly with the new government agenda on academies. He's also been chairing our Board for Social Responsibility and had a fantastic conference which he organized with a lot of stakeholders about tackling poverty, particularly in Middlesbrough. And everybody say, wherever he goes, he is their bishop. But he's also very good at entertaining, so it's been wonderful to actually have him as a colleague. Chichester, Sussex, you're going to get, I think, a people person. You're going to get somebody who's committed to the gospel and mission of the church, particularly engaging with young people, older people who really want to know and hear the gospel and serve the community. And you're going to get somebody who is good at liturgy and above all, somebody who I would say is going to be a father in God, serving everybody in that diocese and giving them a real sense of hope. And I hope really, because of his love for the arts, many people are going to start actually taking up seriously the wonderful legacy that Richard of Chichester left, and our real prayer. You know, 3 things, Lord, I pray, to love thee more nearly, you know, and this business of loving God dearly, nearly, day by day, is going to be a real important thing that actually is going to bring. So you're going to find, yeah, I think a rebirth of the diocese in the image of, you know, Richard of Chichester. And also George Bell, who was a real ecumenist. So new ecumenism is going to actually bubble up in that wonderful diocese of Sussex. For the people of Chichester, we are handing you a treasure. So we wish him all the best with the people of that wonderful diocese. And we're going to continue to pray for him. So Bishop Martin, we wish you well, wish you God's blessing. And since we're coming near the period of Pentecost, may you get a double portion of the Holy Spirit as you embark on your new role. God bless.